And we are recording. So thank you all so much for taking the time to meet with me. What we're going to do today is go over the new system and platform that the Navajo chapters websites have been moved to. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and let me know if anybody has any issues viewing my screen as well. But the purpose of this training is to give you a good foundation in terms of being able to log in and access the new platform, as well as navigate your environment, understand kind of the new lay of the land, all the menus and settings, as well as have a basic understanding of all the different functions to be able to make edit and content changes, create new pages, things like that. In addition, we are going to have some additional resources for you as stated before we are recording this session, so I will be able to post that online within 24 to 48 hours, and it will be on this page that I created for the Navajo chapters. It's a website resources page, and this is a good kind of outline of what we're going to go over today. It's just written out kind of with explanatory text as well as screenshots. In addition to that, I've added, some other third-party resources, things like online tutorials, videos, and a lot of good material for you to bolster your ability and kind of understanding of the new platform, as well as the recording will become available to you. And this is going to expand a little bit as well. There's additional information that I am going to be posting, kind of a follow-up to this. Some stuff like with the calendar and maybe some form, just a quick recorded video on that. So keep in mind that you have this as an additional resource moving forward. But to jump right in, we're going to just log into the chapter site, where before you're used to just kind of doing the /admin. In this case, you just go to your website and add a /505 login. When you do that, it will pull up this WordPress login. You can then just add in your standard credentials. Give me 1 second. And when you do that, that will log you in to this area right here, which is known as the dashboard. So this is kind of, there are two aspects of the new platform. There's one that's kind of the fundamental, kind of the foundation or the architecture of the site, which is the WordPress. WordPress is a very, very common, very powerful and supported platform. And this is this dashboard is the WordPress side of things, in what we refer to as the back end of the site. So this is where you control a lot of the more kind of site-wide functions, higher level functions and things. The majority of the day-to-day content updates and things will not take place here, but there are some important areas on the dashboard that you'll need to know what they are, how to navigate and engage with them, because you will have to use them here and there, and we will be referring back to them later on in the training. The majority of the content changes will occur what we call on the front end or on the pages themselves through a special tool and theme called Divi. But we'll get into that here in just a little bit. What I wanted to do to start us off is just, because this is the first place that you land on, I wanted to give you a brief overview on what all of these different options and settings are on this menu, so you can kind of get a good understanding of just the lay of the land here. Now, this kind of off-white area here in the middle, this is not particularly relevant. It's more just kind of general WordPress updates, and there's not any particular information that is available on here that isn't shown in more detail over here on this side menu in the black. But just going right down the line, of course, at the top you have our dashboard and home, which will take you to this main landing area. Below that we have posts. Posts are essentially it's a post is like a page. It's just a page where you create content, but it can be ported in or funneled in through a blog module. So this is where you would manage the content that you display through a blog on pages throughout your website. I don't think it's super relevant for you right now. I don't know how many chapter websites will utilize a blog in the future or may have one already. But as we get into the functions of updating pages and things, they're all essentially the same. You just manage them in a different area. But for now, just know that posts are where you manage the content for a blog or a blog module. Below that, we have events. This is where you're going to be able to manage, create events for a calendar module. You can add calendars to different pages and then display different events, and you'll be able to create, manage, and edit those events here in this area. Now, I'll probably be sending out within a week or so a follow-up kind of recorded video on specifically on calendars and events and how to manage those. We probably won't get into it today, but expect some follow-up resources on that as well. Moving on down, this one is going to be very relevant for us. This is the media library, and this is the central repository for all of your documents, media, photos, PDFs, Word documents, audio files, any sort of media that you upload to the website, you're going to be able to manage here. You manage and find here. This is where you can come. You've got some different options. You've got a search option if you need to search for a specific document. Some different settings in here to filter through the different media, as well as the ability to add new media through just simply dragging and dropping or selecting it through Windows. And we're going to go over this here in a little bit. But the important takeaway is to know here in the media library, anytime that you upload, say, a document or even a photo, if you click on it, it's going to add a URL or give that specific document a unique address. And this address, if you were to pull it up in your window, is going to pull up that document, that image, etc. And this is one of the ways that we're able to link or point to these documents on the web pages themselves is by using this unique link. And we're going to look at this specifically a little bit later on. But just remember the media library, central repository for all your media and documents. Moving on down, we have another important area that we'll be going over. This is the pages library. So this is just the library or directory of all the pages that exist on your website. So this will include not only the pages that are displayed on the menu, but any page that you've built. So there might be some pages that aren't on the menu, or they're linked, somewhere else, not through the menu. You might have draft pages, which is a new function and feature that you didn't have before, where you can create a page that is not actually visible to the public. You have to be logged in to view it. So this is where you can come here. You can kind of sort through all your pages. You can sort them in alphabetical order and some other different ways. You can find and go to a specific page, or you've also got some quick edit features that allow you to update the title of the page, update the slug or the URL, kind of what the URL in the browser is going to be for that page. You can switch them from published to draft and do some quick quick edits just from the quick edit feature, or as well as find and create new pages. Just anything to do with pages, this is the place that you're going to come, and we will be referencing back here a little later on as well. Comments, you won't have to worry about that. That will be disabled on your site. That is more for a website store or a a blog that is actually getting public comments and things. We also here have projects. Projects are very similar to posts and pages. It's essentially the same structure, but a project is a type of content that is displayed through a unique kind of blog called a filterable portfolio. It's a really cool tool that you have at your disposal. I don't think any are currently being utilized on any of the websites, but it is a cool, if you're ever interested in learning more about this, I can provide you some great resources. It's just a cool way to display content. It's a little more complex, but nothing too difficult, and I think you'll have a great understanding and ability to tackle this after today's training. Below that, we have appearance. So the only area that you need to be familiar with under appearance is going to be menus. When you come here, and we're going to look at this towards the end of the training, this is where you are able to update and manage all the pages and items on your menu in the header of your website. You can make changes, add new items, remove items, move them around, etc., etc. And we're going to go over specifically how to do that a little later on. Below that, you're going to have profile. You're going to have some limited access to be able to, update like your username. You can request a password reset. Do some things like that. Limited access to your profile. Tools that this is actually going to be turned off. It'll show up, but this is more for the hosting and the side of the website that a real-time solution takes care of, so you don't have to worry about tools at all. And then finally, below that, we have Divi, and the one thing we need to worry about in here is what's called the theme builder. And the only thing to remember about Divi and the theme builder option here is that this is how you're actually able to access and edit the header and footer of your website. So this is a great feature with the new platform, in that you weren't able to actually edit the footer and header before with the old system. You now do have full access to make edits to those areas, and we're going to go over kind of how to do that. It essentially works exactly the same as you do on the page, and you'll see what I mean here in just a bit. So that is the dashboard, just a quick overview on all the different items on the menu and what they do. Just did want to point out here, if you come to this resource page that I created, you'll see that we're following along pretty closely here. There's the logging in and dashboard. Here is some screenshots of the dashboard, some explanation, and then I go over all of those menu items again right here. So you can use this to reference back if you need to freshen up on any of this stuff. So what we want to do though is jump right into the main way that you're going to be engaging with the site content and making updates to the site. And that is what we call the front end of the website, or on the pages themselves. To access the website, you just come up here to where it says Navajo chapter sites. And this up here it'll say your chapter website in this area next to the house icon. And just click visit site. And that's going to load. And give it a second and it'll load, and you'll notice that when it loads, it'll take you straight to your home page. Up at the top, you're going to have this black top menu banner. This is indicating and letting you know that you are now on the front end of the website, but you're logged in as an editor, as an administrator, and you can navigate the website as normal. Just find a page that you want to go to. And when you're ready to engage with the content itself, this is the page that we've been using for the training. So if this was the page that I wanted to edit, what I do is just go ahead and on this purple button right here is click Enable Visual Builder. So I click that real quick and let it load. Alright, so once you click that, it'll reload the page. And you'll see now, as we're hovering over all these different pieces of content, these different colored boxes are popping up over each piece. This is showing us that the builder is engaged, it is enabled. And this builder that we're using is called the Divi theme. It is a really powerful, well-supported tool that gives you a really cool, intuitive way of managing and editing content on your website. There are kind of three main containers. You'll notice that each of these different boxes has a different color that represents a different type of container. And there is some crossover and similarities to the old system and how it was set up. And we're just going to go over quick what these different colors and containers are and what they mean. So you'll see here the kind of highest level, or those biggest squares, are either blue or orange. What these are called the section. So these are the most kind of fundamental layer of a page. A section just defines an area within the window or on a page where you, it's like a blank canvas where you start creating content. It just defines a blank space. You can put things in the section, like you might put a gigantic, background image, or the section is going to define the background color, things like that. But it's really just the blank canvas or the page or the section where you start adding all the other pieces of content that work together, kind of in tangent for one single message. So that's a section. Moving on down, and you'll see the sections are blue and orange. The orange ones, they don't, I think they're part of the template. This one's a little bit more kind of specialty in its layout, but the functions and how you make edits and change are exactly the same. So you'll get a little bit better feel for that in a second. But no, orange and blue are going to be this section. So moving on forward, you'll see that a lot of these turquoise colored boxes that pop up, these are what's called a row column structure. And the best way to think about rows is they really define kind of the orientation and spatial relationships of all the content pieces, like the text and the images, how they sit beside each other, sit above and below each other, things like that. And there's a good analogy that I always use, and that is of inserting a table onto a Word document. So the best way to think about it is, if this page were a section, one of those blue squares, a row slash column, these turquoise boxes, are essentially like inserting a table onto a page. Some, you might insert a table that's this 2x3, and then below that, you might insert, a table that's just a two-cell row, and then you might insert another one that's just a single. And so you've inserted these different kind of tables or rows, and they have these different cells or columns. And within each cell, you can add, some text. If I were to add my name, Colton, here you might add, 2020, different types of information. This is analogous to the content editor, where instead of inside these cells, or you're adding just text on Word, instead within these columns or within these rows and their columns, we're adding the modules, things like images, text, buttons, etc. In these columns, I'm going to pull up the menu real quick. You can see here this is a 2-column row. We have a 3-column row. These are 3-column rows, but the middle one's a lot bigger than the ones on the side. So these are the different column structures of a row, and within each of these turquoise boxes, you can insert a piece of content like an image or text, and it just defines how big that space is within the section on the page. So those are rows, and we'll get into kind of how you can move those, edit those, and things here in a little bit. But the main module that you're going to be engaging with is the content modules themselves. They are just referred to as a module, and there are many different types, ranging from text module, image module, button module. Might have the slider module, accordion module, video module. Where before, in the old system, I think we had 12 modules, somewhere around there. We have about double that now, maybe 24, 26 modules. But a lot of the functions are essentially the same. So we're going to go into kind of the different types of modules and look at some of the more basic ones and how to manage those as well. But just know the section defines an area on the page where you kind of build out multiple pieces of content that work together. The rows have certain numbers of columns in them that define kind of the area that the content's going to go in within the section. And then within those columns go different modules, and the modules have different types depending on the type of content that you want to add onto the page. So before we get into actually creating and editing content, I want to go over a little bit more of knowing your environment and the lay of the land. You'll notice as you hover over these different boxes, modules, and rows, these little menus pop up that are the color of whatever the content piece is. You got the gray one, turquoise, and blue. And you'll notice that they've got similar or the exact same icons here, and we want to go over what these are and just kind of denote what they mean, because you're going to see them a lot throughout the system. And they're universal, so if you see one of these icons, you know exactly what it means. So let's go over these real quick, just to get an idea of how to use these. First, we have these arrows, these four directional arrows. This is the move function, or the drag and drop function. What this allows you to do is, say if I wanted this text to be below this image and these buttons here, I could actually just click and drag the row below it. So it allows you to just take, and you can do it with a section. If I wanted to move a whole section down here somewhere, I could do that. Drag and drop. Sometimes the sections you have to drag a ways down because a section can be pretty big. But this just allows you to basically grab a piece of content, drag it somewhere else on the page, and drop it in the location where you want it to be. The next one over is going to be this little gear icon. This is by far the most utilized. This, anytime you see this, think of settings or options. Anytime you click this, it's going to open up some sort of menu for you. So you see this on this image module. I clicked on it, and it opened up the image settings here on the side, which we'll take a look at here in more detail. But just know the gear icon means options or settings anywhere you see it. The next over, we'll see are these two little boxes, one in front of the other. This is the duplicate function. So you're able to copy and duplicate any content that you want, and it'll create an exact copy right below the one you duplicated. So say I wanted to duplicate, I've got this row that has an image and two buttons in it, and I wanted to duplicate it and swap out the content and move it somewhere else. I could simply just hit the duplicate. It's going to hit and create an exact copy. And then I might drag it up here somewhere else on the page and make some edits to it, or do something that swap out the image, change the buttons, something like that. But the duplicate feature comes in really handy because it allows you to create content a lot faster, because you don't ever have to build anything from scratch. If a form or a layout of it already exists, you can simply just duplicate it and then just swap the photo, change the button, etc., etc. The next one over here, we're looking at this row. This one is unique to the row. It's the only one that's different from the three sections, and that's simply just the column structure. We looked at it a little bit earlier. It shows you the different column structures that you have the option of choosing. So this one right now, we're in a 2-column structure. If I wanted to change it to a 3-column, I could do that. And you'll see that it makes these two smaller and opens up a new column here on the side where we could add a new module. So let me just swap that back real quick. The next one over here is this arrow that's pointing down in a circle. That is the download or save to library function. This allows you to add anything from a section, a gigantic section, to a row, or even just a single module, and add it to your library. And this allows you to call back on any page at any time. And if you have, like say, this section or is I like the way that this image, the sizing, the styling of everything here. And instead of having to build this from scratch every time, I could simply just save this section. I could give it a name like, test or training section 1. I could then save it to my library. And now, anytime I'm adding a section, so if I was going to add a new section right here, you'll see this when you're adding a row or a module. You're going to have this other tab that says Add from Library. And anything you add to your library, it's going to pull up right here in this tab. So if I select that, it's going to insert a copy of this because I saved it. So this is, if you know there is something that you're utilizing very frequently, and something that you just want every time you create a page, you always add this certain section or this certain, contact information, something like that. You can just save it to your library, so you can just add it really quick without wasting any time. And you can do that again with not just a section. If it was just a single module, you can see here there's still the add from library function. And we've already got some presets in here, just some standard ones for you to use that are styled up to give you some make your content a little bit more versatile. The next one over is pretty self-explanatory. It's this trash can icon, simply just the delete function. You can, if I wanted to delete the row, just click that. What's really nice about this, and I use this all the time because I accidentally delete stuff, you can always just hit Control-Z on the keyboard, and it will undo a delete or undo any change that you made right away. So all those kind of simple Windows quick key functions work, like Control-Z, things like that. So next, the last one here, kind of as an option, are these different, these three circles. If you click on that, that is going to pop up. You have the Save to Library, some different options. These are more very specific or complicated functions that you don't use too often. But just know that they are there. A lot of what they are is kind of the copy-paste feature. You are able to actually, I could either duplicate a module, save it to the library, or I could even copy the module and I could paste it onto another page. So you have a lot of versatility in being able to, just duplicate content and place it somewhere else whenever you need to. So that goes over kind of the different menu options that you're going to see as you're hovering over these different pieces of content on the page. But if anyone noticed, oh, and actually there's one more thing. As you're hovering over these different, the modules and the rows, you got your menu up top here, but then you're also always going to have this little plus button at the bottom. What that is the Add New function. So you can always, anytime where you see, anywhere where you see a plus icon, you can add a new of whatever that plus icon is associated with. For instance, this is the plus icon for the row. So if we wanted to insert a new row below this one, we could just click on that, and it's going to give us the options of all the different layouts. Maybe I want like a 4-column layout. It's going to just insert the row and give me the option to add 4 modules. The same with the modules. You can always hit the plus icon, and this is where you're going to get your your module list. But also that from the plus icon is where you can find the library tab and add anything that you saved to your library. But that gives you the lay of the land in terms of the little menus that pop up in the Divi Builder. In addition, if you notice, here at the bottom we have this purple circle. If you click on that, that opens up an additional menu here at the very bottom of the page. This is the page menu. So these are the menu settings for the entire page rather than just the individual content pieces themselves. Now you'll see that there's some similar, we got the gear icon. Again, this is the settings for the page rather than the module or row. We also have the delete, if you can delete a page from here, or you have, I don't recommend doing this, but you can kind of, if you want to, if you're working on a template and you need to just to kind of start from scratch, you can do that. You also have the save to library function, so that this is going to allow you to save an entire page to the library. And you'll see here when we're creating a new page later on in the training, how if you have a whole page set up that you like, you can save the entire page as a template and call on it anytime you need to. But don't worry about these main kind of purple buttons. The ones that we really want to worry about today are these ones over here on the side and the save button. So over here on the side, you have your different views and kind of ways of viewing the page while you're making edits. And this is really handy because you'll notice here we have a computer screen, a tablet, and a cell phone. If you click on these are going to give you the different views for phone, tablet, and then of course the desktop, which is the one we're looking at. But this is nice because sometimes you're creating a page, you're managing some content and some new sections, and people aren't always going to be accessing your website through a computer. They may be using their cell phone. So being able to see how the content renders and looks on a mobile environment is a really nice feature, because you can see if maybe I need to make that text a little bigger, or maybe I need to change the color, or maybe I need to center that text, things like that, because sometimes something can look okay on desktop, and it looks a little funky on mobile. So having the ability to go back and forth and double check your work on that is really nice. You also have this zoom out or magnifying glass icon right here. That just gives you a nice bird's eye view. If you just want to step back and take a look and say, does my design, does the content, the layout make sense? Let me get a little bit higher view of what I'm looking at. Over here as well, we have, and you'll notice as I'm hovering over all these different pieces of content, the menu pops up, and as I hover over it, it squares out the specific piece of content itself. Sometimes that can be, if there's a lot of content in one area, there's a little too much going on. If you want to make, simplify it, strip it down a little bit, you can select this click mode. The one we are on is called the hover mode. Click mode, it still squares the content as you hover over it, but instead of showing the menu, if you want to engage with the menu for a certain piece of content, you actually have to click. Once you click, then the menus show up. So it just makes it a little less busy on the page, and it's really just a preference thing. I always stick to hover mode, it's just what I'm used to, but just know you have the option there to switch it if you need to. The other one is, sometimes if content is really close together, the menus can kind of overlap, and it can be a little difficult to get the right one. No, you can always click this grid mode as well, and clicking that is going to activate all of the menus and display them all at once and hold them in place. So that's a nice feature if you just want to kind of take a look at where exactly is everything. I want to see the lay of the land, and that one is really useful sometimes for just finding the right menu. The other thing that we want to take a look at is the save button over here. And so this is the final save, or I call it like the push the changes live button. And anytime you hit this, any changes that you've made on the page itself are going to go live to the public, or live to that page. So you're going to see here in a second as we're making changes to the modules and content that I may open up this module, make some changes, and I have these options down here to not save my changes or hit the check mark to save my changes, undo things like that. But I can go through, I can make be making all the updates and changes to on the page that I want, but nothing is actually finally saved or live until I hit this final page save button. So just keep that in mind that just because you've swapped out this image on the page doesn't mean that it is now viewable or live if somebody from the public is viewing that page. It's only saved locally within the builder until you push it live by hitting the page save button. So that kind of gives us, again, going back to this resource page for you all, you'll see here it goes over the kind of enabling the visual builder. I've got some additional tutorials here for the Divi builder with some cool YouTube videos. These are professional web developers who do trainings. Real good stuff if you need to get a different perspective. Somebody who's these are very eloquent and good at explaining things. Here it goes over all the different menu items again, what they are. And now we're going to get into the types of modules, and we're going to actually start engaging with content, and I'm going to show you how to make changes and updates. And if you indulge me, I'm just going to take a quick drink. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you, of course, when we look at the menu, there's a ton of different types of modules, maybe 26 different types. But the cool thing is, the way they've set it up is that everything is organized in the exact same way. So if you understand kind of the fundamental functions and the kind of base fundamental modules, you have the tools to be able to master 90% of the other modules that are available. And there are three key modules that you're going to see over and over again, and that all the other modules are basically some sort of combination, iteration, or some kind of version of. And the first, basic fundamental module is just a text editor. So here we got a text editor right here. This is left over from another training, but let's just I'm gonna just kind of start deleting this content, and we're gonna rebuild this actually as the training. So say here I've got this section. I'm just gonna add my row, and then I'm gonna add a text editor. And so here is the text editor itself. When I inserted it, it automatically opens up the settings. But of course, any text editor in any module, if you just hover over it, you can click the gear icon, and it's going to pull up the settings. So here, it pulls up the settings here on the side, and you'll notice that there are three main tabs at the top: Content, Design, and Advanced. And this is going to be the same no matter what module you're in. You're always going to have these three main tabs: Content, Design, Advanced. It's also the same if you open up the settings for a section or for a row. Everything is organized into these three main categories. Now, Design and Advanced, you won't have to worry about that much. The majority of updates take place in the Content tab. And underneath the Content tab itself, you'll notice that there are other drop-down menus. Now, depending on the module or the section that you're in, these drop-down menus will all vary, but you're going to see a lot of overlap in them. This, for example, this link function is universal. Almost everything has the link option. We are in a text editor or a text module, so of course we have this text drop-down, and this opens up our text editor tool. And you'll see here, it's just got some filler text. Let's say I wanted to start building out, some text using this. I've got my tools here, just the basic standard suite, a lot of the same functions that you have on Windows or the old text editor. I'm going to just grab, I got this open some just filler text. Say this might be from an article, or you have a Word document that you wanted to copy and paste from. I'm just going to grab this section, and I'm going to come over here. I'm going to delete this. I'm just going to paste it right into the text editor. And you'll see what's nice is, as I add the content in to the settings in the menu right here, you can see the changes on the page in real time. So you can see exactly how it's going to look, how it's going to format on the page. You don't have to close and save it to view and see how it's going to look. The other thing is, if this is this menu isn't, the location of the menu isn't where you want it to be, you can always pull it out and move it somewhere else. I may want to, work on something like this. Pull it out a little bit larger and be kind of working on it like this. You have different options up here in the top right where you can kind of just, move it and resize it to your liking. I'm going to move it back to I'm just used to the standard way of having it on the side. That's the way I do it. But you can kind of figure out what works best for you. Go back down to the text editor. So here we have just some filler text, but I also want to add a title to this with some bigger text up top. And so I'm going to just come over here. I'm going to add some spaces and just highlight the area up top. And what's cool is, and this is the same, so you should be familiar with this before, are the different heading options that we have for your website. And those are just preset fonts and sizes and weights that are preset into the system that you can choose from based on a list of headings. And that you can, this little top left drop down is the heading menu. And you'll see you have your different heading options here. Of course, the smaller the number, the bigger the text in general. And so I wanted to, I think this heading 2 might be good on this one. I'm going to say, this is going to be, let's say this is a kind of research synopsis. I'm posting some research. I have an article out in a research magazine, something like that, and I'm posting it to my website. I'm just going to put, a new species found in Atlantic Ocean. And you can see, because I selected the heading 2, it is now in a bigger bold text. And if I wanted to highlight that, I could switch it. Maybe that's too big. Switch it to heading 3. I might do heading 5, heading 1. You can kind of play around and see what works best for you. I think I liked heading 2. Well, I might switch it to heading 3. I think that works a little bit better. So you're able to change within the text editor itself the sizes of the text and different fonts by using the headings here. You can also, if I wanted to maybe there's a list in here somewhere, I can, create a bullet list or a numbered list right here. I'm actually going to get rid of that one. Oops. And when you mess up, I do that all the time, you can always hit Control-Z and it undoes what you did. So I'm going to say, I'm going to add some a number list in here. There's a list that I wanted to demo, so I'm adding that in there. You can start kind of, creating your list. Maybe I want, the first few words of each list to be bold. I can just hit the Control-B short key or hit the bold up here. But I can start to build out my content within the text editor as needed. And also, the other thing I want to highlight, all these functions are pretty standard, but the one that you'll definitely need to know is this one right here, the insert or edit link. This is the hyperlink function. What this does is it allows you to add, make any text a clickable link. I'm sure you've done this before. It's a universal feature kind of for websites and email. But say, I wanted to add my email here. I might say, okay, I want to put email, and then I'm going to insert a hyperlink. And this could be, maybe it's just a link to a website. In that case, I would just paste the URL in. But for email, there's a short code, which is just simply mail to, and then I'm going to put colton@rtsolutions.com, my email. And then where it says text to display, I can just have it be my email if I wanted, or I could just put Colton's email. Hit OK. And you'll see that adds a hyperlink so that if anybody clicks on this, it's going to open up my email in their, whatever their email tool is. You can also do that. So if I put, website, maybe I'm a researcher at UNM, so I've got, my profile on UNM, and I want to link to that. I'm just going to grab the UNM website. I could just, find the profile website there, and I'm going to put another hyperlink in, paste the URL for UNM. In this case, I'm just going to put professor website. Hit OK, and now there's a link to this website. And if I ever wanted to change it, I can just click on it, hit the link function, and it pops up there again. And I can also change and have it open in either the same window or a new window. And we'll get into a little bit more of that later on with buttons and things. And then maybe I wanted to add my phone number as well. If I come down here, I can add phone. And I'm going to add my phone number, 505-810-0414. And then I'm going to highlight it. I want to make it a clickable link. I'm going to highlight it, select the link function, and the short code for a telephone is just TEL : and then you just put the number. Hit OK. And now there's a clickable link, so if they open this or clicked on this with a cell phone, it would open up in their phone and they could just call it right away, which is really nice. But you see, these changes, as you make them in the text editor, they show up right on the page, so you can kind of see what they look like. You can just, play around and get it exactly the way you want it with the headings, hyperlinks, and all your different tools in here. And once you're ready, you can just hit this checkbox right there. And if I hit that, it's going to, remember, it's not going to save it, like publish the page live so to the public, but it does just save it within the context of this section and this module itself. To make it go live, I would have to hit this final save button right here. So that's a text module, pretty straightforward, very similar to the text module before, but you just have a little bit more control. It's easier to see exactly what you're doing and how it's going to look on the page. And now let's say we wanted to add, this is just my introduction to the research I'm doing, but I wanted to spice it up with some images, and then later on I'm going to want to link to the articles and things themselves. So I want to add an image here. I've got this nice body of text, but below it I'm thinking I want to do an image on the left with some links and things on the right side. So I know that this column is or this row is a one-column structure. So below it, since I want to have two things side by side, I'm going to add a two-column structure. So maybe I'm going to want, if I wanted a bigger image on the left and smaller links on the side, I might choose this one. But maybe I just want it to keep it equal. I'm just going to get this two-column structure. And that's going to insert, you'll see now there's these two spaces to insert content. And on this left-hand side, I want to add an image. So I'm going to look up, I could look through these options and find the image module itself. Or you always have the search function to make it a little easier for you. Just type in image and it'll pop up right there for you. And again, I could always insert it from the library if I needed to, if I had something saved to the library. I'm going to insert an image. Then the image is another just fundamental module that's very common, and you're going to see the process that we're going to go through right now. You're going to see it all over the place. It works the same if you're doing an image or if you're doing a video as well. The same function we're doing here with images essentially works the same for videos, also the video module. But here, you'll notice it inserts just a placeholder image for now, and it opens up the settings here on the side. And you'll notice that these settings look exactly the same as the text editor settings. You have those three main tabs: content, design, and advanced. And then under content, you have these different drop downs. And you have almost exactly the same options. You have link, background, but instead of the text option, we have image. And if we open that up, you'll see that there's this little placeholder. It's showing you what image is in the module. Currently, it's just the placeholder. But as I hover over that placeholder image, a couple other options pop up. And there's that trash can, which we already know means delete if we wanted to delete that module. And then there's that gear icon again, which we know is options or settings. So if I click on that gear icon, it's going to open up our media library. So we looked at this at the beginning in the dashboard, and this is the central repository for all our documents and media. What's nice about this module and the tool is it just opens up the media library for you automatically. You don't have to go back to the dashboard, and it filters out anything that's not an image. So here it just pulls up the media library with all our different images. And if we wanted to insert one from here, we could just select the image that we want and click OK or insert. So say, I want to add this image right here. This is the one that looks pretty good. I can just hit select it so that it's got a checkbox and hit upload an image. And it's going to insert it right into that module in that column. Let's say, so that was pretty easy. We just had to go click the settings, go to the media library, select the photo. Let's say the photo, we're going to go back, wasn't in the media library. We needed to upload it. We just downloaded it off the internet or from an email, something like that. We can always tab over here to the side where it says upload files, and we can then either drag and drop some photos into this area, or we can just select some files from our windows. So let's say I'm going to come in here. I think I got some standard images. Let's go here. I'm going to grab this image. This is the one I'm looking for. Hit open file, and it's going to load it right into the media library. So now I can select this one and just hit upload that image, and it's going to add it right in. So you can see even adding an image is really easy. You can, if it's already in the media library, all you have to do is just select it and insert it in. Or if you need to upload it, it gives you the option to just do that really easy through this upload files tab here in the top left. So awesome. Just to go over kind of what we're going to go over next too with buttons, you'll notice we inserted this image, and below that there's this link function. Just to kind of give you a preview of this, what this function does is it allows you to make this entire image kind of a clickable link or a clickable button, so that anyone who came and clicked on this image could be directed to a new page, another website, and you can use these features to create really beautiful and aesthetic content on your site that's functional as well. We're going to go over that in a little bit more detail. For right now, we just went through the media library, added our image, and we're ready to go. So everything looks good. I'm going to hit this check mark right here. All right, so now I've got my text, got my description on the research that I'm doing, my contact information. I added an image just to make it more aesthetically pleasing. And now here on the side, I want to link to the research itself. I've got a PDF document that outlines my research findings. I want to link to some other sources, some external sources, and maybe some internal sources as well. Maybe there's some pages on my website that I want to link to. So we're going to do this by utilizing the button function, or the button module. So I'm going to come over here. I'm just going to click the plus again, and I'm going to search for button. And there is the button module right there. I'm just going to insert it in real quick. It inserts a blank button and opens the settings here on the side. And you'll notice again, just to drive it home, we have those three main tabs: Content, Design, and Advanced, which are the same for everything, no matter what. And then below that, we have our options. We have text. In this instance, because it's not really a full text editor, it's just whatever the title or information that's going to go inside the button itself. And so let's say right now I want to link to an external site. I'm going to put, we already linked to UNM, but I'm going to link to maybe another university. Let's see, Boston University, something like that, Boston University research page. So that's the link that I want to have this button point towards. So it's simple enough. I just added the title straight into where it says button under text. But now I'm going to use this link function, and this is how I'm going to be able to point to the website itself. So all I have to do is paste the URL, similar to what we did with the hyperlinks, straight into this button link URL function. So I'm going to open up, I'm going to look for Boston University. Here is their website. So I'm just going to grab their URL out of the browser. I'm going to come back here and I'm just going to paste it in right where it says button link URL. And now down below where it says button link URL, you'll see the option button link target. What this means is you always have two options where either it can open in the same window or in a new tab. And all that's saying is, do you want the user to be taken in, if you select in the same window, taken away from the page where they're on and taken to the new page where the button's pointing to? Or do you want to just have that page open up in a new tab and they still keep the current page open? And there is a rule of thumb, kind of a standard best practice for this, and that is anytime you're pointing to an external source, like a third-party website, a website that's not your own, always have it open in a new tab so the user keeps a foot in the door on your website. Or if you're pointing to a document, some sort of piece of media that they're going to read or open up and view, in that case as well, just have it open up in a new tab so they still have an anchor or a foot in the door for the content and on that page where they can go back and continue on viewing your website. If it is an internal link, if you're just guiding them through your own website, then you can have it open up in the same window because they're just navigating through your website and not venturing off somewhere else. So because this is an external site, this is Boston University, I'm going to have it open up in a new tab. So okay, that's simple enough. We've added our title for our button. We've pointed it to the correct URL or link. We have it opened up in a new tab. I'm going to hit the checkbox right there. And now I have my first button pointing to an external third-party source. Give me 1 second. But now, I want to point to the actual research document itself. So I've got a full PDF that I want to upload, and I want the user to be able to read this text and then click on the button and open up the research document. So I'm going to add another button, and I'm going to give it the title. I'm going to say, this is, New Atlantic Species Research Document. And now in link, what I'm going to do is, I want to open up in a new tab. I need to go back to the dashboard. So in the dashboard, I have, again, we went over the media library. And in the media library, we're just in here grabbing photos and things, but the media library is also where the PDF documents and Word documents, things like that, are going to reside. And remember, anytime you upload a document or piece of media, if you click on it, it's going to give you the attachment details, but it's also going to give you a unique website URL that you can use to pull up that document in your browser. And this is what you can use to point towards your document. So I have a document here, a test research document. It's in the media library, but if I needed to upload it, I could do the same process as uploading we did for photos. Select Add New, drag or drop into this area. I could select some files. But since we already have this in here, I can just click on it, and I'm going to come over here, and I'm just going to grab this file URL from the media library. I'm going to copy it. Now I'm going to jump back to my page where I have my button, and in the button link URL space, I'm going to paste that link to the document itself. And that is going to point that button at that document. So anytime they click, it's going to open up this document from the media library. And one thing to note, when it's an internal link or it's a link off your main chapter domain, you don't need to include the domain, the .com. Basically, anything from the .com back, you can actually delete, and just keep the whatever in the /on. Let me just remove that real quick. And the reason being is the system, since it's an internal link, the system just knows to add that, and it's just a best practice. It'll still work if you don't do that, but just to throw it out there. And since this is a document, it is an internal link technically, but it is a document. We want to have it open in a new tab. So all right, I grabbed my link from the media library for the specific document that I want to point to. I've added that into the link URL of my button. Now I'm ready. I'm going to hit the checkbox. Now that pointed to the document, and it will be ready to go. It'll work just fine. But there is another option and way of going about that may be a little bit easier for you. If you come in here, we're going to go back to settings. And this is more just a preference thing. It is totally fine and just as effective to grab the URL from the media library directly. But you'll notice too, as you hover over this button link URL, that you have these 3 circles with a little plus icon. This is what's known as the dynamic content, and what it does is if you click on it, it's going to give you the option to add basically a drop-down menu in here in this space. And if I wanted to access the media, like the media library, I can select Media Link. What that's going to do is give me a drop-down menu. Oops. Not sure why it's. Oops. Hold on a second. I'm not sure why it's not working right now. I might have to come back to this. Normally, it should pull up if I added this media link, it would pull up all the media in the media library. We may just need to do a refresh, but essentially this would, we'll do a refresh here and see if we can get it to work. But essentially this would do, if you add this media link, it's going to give you a drop-down menu with all of the items in your media library, and you can just select the document that way instead of having to grab the link. However, it just gets a little convoluted sometimes if you have a lot of documents in your media library. But either way will work if you use the dynamic content or you paste the URL straight into the button link URL. And we'll come back and I'll show you that after we do a refresh. It probably just needs to just do a quick refresh to get it going. So okay, so we have our 2 buttons so far. We're linking to an external page to Boston University. We're linking to my research document. And now I want to link to the Contact Us page that's internal to the website itself. So I'm going to add another button, and I'm just going to put here, contact us. And in the link, I can come over here. We already got a contact us page. I can grab that, grab the URL, and simply just paste that in. And remember, since it's an internal link, I can remove the .com, everything from the .com back, and just have the / contact us. The system will know to add the .com in. And we have this, since it's in the same window, since we're going to be just pointing to the same to a page within the same website. And that it's as simple as that. You can just copy paste the URL just like you would the document or the external site. But again, you also have the option of this dynamic content of selecting that and selecting page link. And that is actually, and so this one's working. This one, it'll show you a drop-down list of all of the different pages that you have available. And you can see here is contact us. I can select that and just hit the checkbox. And if I go back and change it, just select the settings. We're familiar with that icon, and you can see what page it's pointing at. So whether you're using the dynamic content option or just copy pasting the link from the browser, either way will work. But just understand that this link function with a button, I mean, it's essential to what a button is. But the link function, you're going to see that in a lot of places. So like if we go back to the image module, you see here's a link option as well. And it's exactly the same. You have image link URL if you wanted this button to be clickable, just like a button would be. Of course, you're going to get some specific. This open and light box just means that the user can click on it and it'll zoom out and it'll make the image bigger. And there's going to be some more specific information within each module, but the essential kind of main functions are all utilized the same. So you can see how the link is a good example of how it works in a button is the exact same way that it works in an image. And if you know how to use a button, you're going to know how to use the link function on any module anywhere. And so those are kind of the three main or foundational modules. And all of the other modules, or probably 90% of them, are just some combination, iteration, or just kind of combination of these three in some way. And we can go and as we look through this page, you'll see here is a cool module. These ones are really nice, really can be really visually pleasing. This is called a call to action. And we can easily build one of these with knowing just the information that we just learned. Image, button, text. And when you look at it, that's all that's here. We have an image, we have a button, and we have text. So let's just build a call to action real quick below this. I'm going to add another row, just a single column row. And in this, I'm going to add a call to action module. And that's going to give me just a clean blank slate for call to action. Your title goes here. And it's going to pull up the settings over here on the side. And you'll notice you have, again, content design advanced, nothing new there. And then we have our drop downs. We have text, link, background. So let's take a look at these real quick. Under text, we have title, and of course that one's pretty self-explanatory. If we can figure out the button, we can figure out the title. This one we could say click more, click here, or view more. Let's just give it a title like I'm going to go my company, Real-Time Solutions. You can see the title added right in there. Maybe in this this text, we're just going to put Real-Time Solutions is a website and software development company here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And maybe I wanted to make that, you know, heading 5, something a little bit bigger. Maybe heading 6, you know, play around with that. Okay, so there's nothing new here, nothing particularly crazy that we don't know. It's just a text editor adding a title. If we come down here to link, well, here we have those link functions. We have 2 of them here now, so let's take a look at that. One says button link URL, so that's pretty self-explanatory. That's the button. And then there's one that says module link URL. So what the difference is let me go, I'm going to go to RT Solutions. So the button, I want to point to our website. So I'm going to paste a Real-Time Solutions website here in the button link URL. And you'll see just by pasting it in, then the button shows up. So it is conditional on adding a link into the space here. But now, if I wanted to make, right now, that button link URL, is just say somebody would have to click on this button specifically to be directed to the Real-Time Solutions website. But where it says module link URL, if I pasted Real-Time Solutions into that section, that means this entire blue box is now a clickable link. So they don't have to click on the button here. If they clicked over here on the side or on any of the text, it is also going to direct them to the Real-Time Solutions website. And so you can do this with anything. Any module can be a gigantic button. The link function is everywhere, and you can always make something clickable. So that's kind of how, again, this is, you know, things are, you know, they're throwing a couple curveballs at us, but there's nothing that we can't figure out with the tools that we just learned. Well, now, you know, there was images in these ones up here, and I'm not seeing an image drop down over here. However, I do see background. So let's take a look at that. And in background, I can obviously, you know, we can change the color here, but then over here we do have some other tabs and options, and this one right here is an image tab. So for under background, if we select that, that is going to add basically the image settings for the background. So we can now click on this, add background image, and it's going to pull up the media library for us right away. So now we can select a background image, which is just through a different tab, but the function is exactly the same. So I like this background image. I'm going to select that one, hit upload, and it gets added right into the call to action module. And that easily, we have now created similar kind of content like these, just knowing these 3 main functions: text editor, button, and image. So there's that one. And now, there are a few other cool types of modules. Something like a slider module. You're going to see a lot of sliders. I think a lot of the chapter websites use sliders. So let's take a look at what that looks like. Let's add a slider module in here and see if we can't figure out how to work one of those. So I'm going to insert a slider, and again, it's going to just insert a blank. You can see we got some arrows over here to go through the slides. Pulls up the settings on the side, got content, design, and advanced. But what I'm noticing in it here is, you know what, this just looks, again, like a call to action. You have your blank background, your title, text, and a button. Now here, you're going to see these other little menus and settings. What these are the individual slides. And a lot of things like sliders, you can kind of think as a container for multiple modules. Each slide is basically its own little call to action. So if we wanted to make this call to action its own slide, we could simply just click on the settings icon for the very first slide. I'm going to put Real-Time Solutions. I might even grab this text up top, paste it in here. I might say, you know, read or view our website. Here we have link. Let me go back to our website. paste that in the button link URL. We could make this entire module or slide clickable. I don't really need to do that on this one, so I'm just going to leave it in the button. And now I do have an image and video here, but I also have background. So we can kind of add an image in two ways here. So I could go on image and video. I can go into the media library. Maybe I'll add an image there. And that is going to put it on the side. So the text and things are on the side and the image is right here. But maybe I wanted the image to be the entire slide, the background itself. Well, I can, instead of going to image, just go down to background. It's the exact same setup. Come over here to the image tab. Go into the media library. This time I'm going to add this slide, or this is the one we used, and upload that image in. And so now, hey, we just created this call to action as a slide on the slider. And hit the checkbox on that. But now a slider needs to have more than one slide, so I'm going to go into the second one right here. And I'm going to make this one my old job, a restaurant I used to work at, Tucci's Italian. I'm going to, on this one, I'm just going to put view menu. Then I'm going to say Tucci's is a local chain in Albuquerque, founded in 2012. And then on an image, I want to put a background image in. I don't think we have a good food background, but maybe I'll just have this flower one in there. And then, I would maybe paste in the menu on right here, something like that. But you can see how these functions of adding images, adding buttons, links, text are all the same, even from one module to the next. So we can hit the checkbox on those, and now we have a functioning slider module with all the relevant information. And all we did was use the functions, the text editor, image, and button functions, and just use them through these other modules. Another good example is something like an accordion. An accordion module is just a couple of text editors stacked on top of each other, where you can open and collapse each editor, so just as to save space. And you've got your different editors up here. You can go into one. Maybe this one, you would switch to heading 1. Down here, I'm going to switch this to heading 4. Heading 3, something like that. Give it a title, example 1. And then go on for the other. But you can see that this is is a unique has a unique kind of functional and utility to it. But the way you edit it and update it is exactly the same way as you edit a text editor. And you're going to find that is true for a lot of the different modules. Even though there's a lot of different modules to choose from, if you can master these, the image module, the button module, and the text editor, you're going to be 90% of the way there. So that's kind of just a good crash course in terms of how to update modules themselves on an existing page with existing content. Adding new modules. We looked a little bit about adding rows, things like that. But say I updated these and I made all this content. It's ready to go live. Again, even though I've created it, nothing is actually live to the public side yet. I have to hit save. So I'm going to do that final save. I'm going to let it do its thing. And then I'm able to exit the Visual Builder up here in the top in the same area where I enabled it. Then we can go back down and you can see our content that was created here. And now that this content, if somebody who wasn't logged in came to this page, they would see the content that we just created here. Now that's great. This is how you would be able to engage, update, and change content on different pages just by enabling the visual builder, either adding new content or going to the settings of existing content and just changing what's there. But there are some other functions that you're going to need to know how to do, and those are, maybe there's a new page that you need to create, and you need to add that page to the menu. Or maybe, there's the header and footer. You'll notice that we weren't able to make edits down here on the footer. This actually doesn't open up when you enable the visual builder, or, this top menu area up here doesn't open up. So let's walk through the process of creating a new page and adding it to the menu. So of course, we exited out of the visual builder, and you always want to exit out of the visual builder before you start going to different pages. Otherwise, it's not going to let you. So always remember to exit out of the visual builder once you're done saving everything. And we can come over here where it says new, and we can actually just start creating a new page right away. I don't like to use this option because I always accidentally will select one of the wrong options and start creating like a post instead of a page. So I always like to go back to the dashboard. You can always go back to the dashboard, just find your chapter name up here in the top left, and that will take you back to the dashboard right here. And then I'm going to go down to the Pages menu, and on the Pages menu you can see here's Add New right here, or there's Add New up top here. This is where I usually go and to add a new page. And let's walk through the process of doing that. You can just click Add New. And it's going to load a menu that looks a little kind of convoluted, but this one you don't have to worry about too much. This is just more of a kind of a back-end WordPress menu. Don't worry about these options here on the side. All you have to do on this page and slide right here is give the page a title. So in this case, let's give, let's say we were doing that research. I'm going to put, new ocean species research. So that will be the name of the page. And once I add the title, I'm just going to select Use Divi Builder. Divi Builder is the tool that we were just looking at, that we were just learning. So to do that, it may take a few seconds, give it just a little bit of time to load. Sometimes if it doesn't load, you can always just click the purple button down here, but it should just automatically pop up with this option after you've selected Use Divi Builder. So this is gonna open up Load from Library, and it's going to give you the option some pre-made layouts. These are pre-made WordPress layouts. I wouldn't bother with these. These are what you want to do is engage with the existing styles and layouts that already exist on your website. So you can tab over here to your saved layouts, and in here you're going to have some basic content page layouts, home page, content page, or if you save any of your pages to the library, like that example where we saved a section to the library, you can save a page to the library, and then when you're creating a new page, it'll show up here in your saved layouts, and you can select it there. Another cool function that you have the ability to do now through the new system is the ability to clone a page. So when you create a new page, of course, usually you're going to come just choose a pre-made content page layout, but you can also come over here to your existing pages, and this is going to allow you, it's going to show you your pages library, and it'll give you the option to clone any one of the pages that already exists. So if I wanted to clone like the Contact Us page, this Test of Navajo chapter's main site, whatever the page is, you can actually clone a copy of it. And this gives you the ability to create a copy of a page that you can work on in between, that you don't have to worry about it being live, or there being like a partially updated or changed page that's viewable to the public. You can simply just clone the page, work on it at your leisure, and then once it's done, you can just swap out that new updated page for the old one. And we'll show you how to do that here in just a second. But for our purposes, we're just going to show, choose a simple content page layout, select the content page, And that's going to load just a standard template. You can see it kind of gives you a title with our page title right here, and it's got just some just standard filler text and modules and images. This is you'll notice it's an orange section. An orange section just basically it gives you you can put column or rows columns right here and then have individual modules over here. It's something you can't do in a normal section, but I honestly I prefer just a normal section, so I might do something like add a regular section right here, and then I might even just pull these rows down from this section into the one below it. Let's do that again. I'll pull this row down into this section, or I might pull the modules in down into the new section, something like that. And then I might just get rid of this orange one. So now I'm working with a regular blue section. You can see I used what we learned, the drag and drop feature, the add new feature, and I can go ahead and just start creating content. I want to take this opportunity. We're not going to go into the modules again. I'm just going to show you kind of how you can use the rows in different ways to create different orientations of content and things. So we have here our just text. Let's say I wanted this text to be I wanted to have a couple images on the side. I might switch it to this one where we've got a big column on the right with a small one on the left. And I might need to move this over here. I can actually get rid of this one. And I might add an image module in here. Just select a random one. And I'm going kind of fast, don't worry about this. This is just to show you the rows. So you can see there, I've got now, that's how I got an image on the left, some text on the right. Now I want to add 3 buttons below this. So I might select this 3-column structure, and then I'm just going to add, I'm just going to add buttons into each of those. So here is a button, and then I don't even have to add one. I can just duplicate it 2 times, move it over here. Oops. There's a quick error. Give me 1 second. If there's an error, you can always just save and then exit the builder and then re-enable the builder, and it should go away. And there we go. So we got those buttons. I'm going to move it over here. Okay, so now we got our 3 buttons below here. Maybe I want to add another row, and this one I just want to have one big image. So I'm going to select just one section. I'm going to add image module. Again, we'll go in, select a nice big image. Maybe let's go with that one from earlier. Oh, that one's actually not that big. Maybe let's select this one. That one's not that big either. Select that one. There we go. That's a nice big image. And then below that, maybe I wanted, just another like accordion with some, something on, another image on the side. Select just another row. Oops. Control Z, undo that one. I needed to add a new row below. And then just keep, adding content as you go. And you can see how using the rows and their different layouts, you can create the different content. We got a 2-column row, 3-column row, 1-column row, and that's how you create the space, the orientations, and how things sit above and beside each other on a page, is utilizing the row structures. And you can always go to an existing row and you can change it to something else. And I can now add, maybe I'll add an accordion here. And so you can go through and you can always, and before on the old system, you had no control over the rows. They did have the row structures, but it was preset. It was just permanent, and you couldn't change it. Now you have full control, which is a new dynamic to your ability to manage content on the site that you didn't have before, and it's really cool. It allows you to be really creative and do a lot of new different things. So let's say, okay, so this is just pretend we built out this page, we've been working on it for a couple of days. Now it's ready to go. You'll notice down here on the page menu, we have a little different options than we were seeing before. We have save draft and publish. So if we save it as a draft, we can go ahead and do that. Again, saving content as a draft just means that it's not available to be viewable by the public in any way. This means you have to be logged in to the website to be able to view it. You can find it in the Pages library. It can't be added to the menu, but it's just a way to have a working, rough draft of a page that you don't, want people to be able to access in any way. Once it's ready, so say, we've saved it as a draft, we've been working on it for a couple days, now it's ready to go live, and we want to add it to the menu. So then I'm just going to go ahead and just hit publish, and that's going to save it. It's going to publish it, make it live, and now you see there's just the standard save button that we've been used to. So now I'm going to exit the visual builder because we saved the page, we published it. Now I want to add this page to the menu up here somewhere. So I'm going to go back to the dashboard. And here I want to go back to we looked at it at the very beginning under Appearance and Menus. And this is going to pull up our menu. I'm going to keep this page open so you can kind of see the menu over here. You can see it goes Home, Contact Us, Research Studies. We have Home, Contact Us, Research Studies. So this is a representation of the menu on the home page of the website. And if we want to change it, all we have to do is it's the same drag and drop function that we saw with the modules. If I wanted to move Contact Us down to the very bottom, I could just drag and drop it down there. And you'll see that there are some items that are indented underneath others. This means that they're sub-items of the one above it. So you'll see Thursday training, December training are under the just training tab. If you come over here, you'll see that they're drop-downs underneath training. So that's how you create the drop-down function, is by indenting content underneath the one above it. And that's simply, if I wanted Contact Us to be indented under UNM, I would just drag it over until it's indented. And if I want it to be one of the main items, I just keep it flush with the side here. So you can see it kind of works like a folder system in Word. You've got your open up these, it gets, it's a little hierarchy folder structure. So now we want to add a new page, and we can do that over here where it says Add Menu Items. This is going to give you a little menu and of your pages, and the one that it opens up to normally is Most Recent, and that's really useful because you're usually adding the page that you were just working on to the menu. And you can see the New Ocean Species Research, the page we just created. That one is at the very top. You can also go to a View All, or you can search for a specific page, but since this one is right there, I'm just going to check the box and hit Add to Menu. And then that's going to add it straight to the menu down here, and then I can just drag and drop it where I need it to be. So say, I need this to be, we already have Research Studies on the menu, so I'm going to indent it under Research Studies and make it be a drop down of that. So right now you'll see it's not saved, there's just Research Studies, it's its own thing. I'm just going to hit the Save menu, and I'm going to refresh this page. And now you'll see new ocean species research pops down as a drop down underneath research studies. And if I wanted to move it somewhere else, if I didn't want it to be a drop down item, I could just unindent it under research studies, hit save menu. Let's reload this, and now you see its own thing on the main menu. So the menus, is pretty straightforward. It's just, kind of like, think of a folder structure in Windows. Just drag and drop. Anything, if it's indented, means it's going to be a drop-down item. Oh, sorry, my cat's meowing at me. Cat. Okay. Okay. You can just have any item be a drop-down menu, or by indenting it underneath the item above it. You can also do things like custom links. So if you wanted to link to a external site, and something like, if I wanted to link to real-time solutions, I could simply just grab the URL from the external site, and I could come over here, and I could paste it in, and then I could just add the link in here as something like real-time solutions, hit add to menu, and it's going to add that custom link. So even if I want to add a link that isn't actually a page on my site, but rather an external link, you can do that as well. So if you needed to link to some other, Navajo Nation organization or chapter organization, you can do that as well by just adding a custom link instead of pages. So that gives you kind of a good overview of the menuing structure and how you're able to add items to the menu, how you're able to change menu items, move them around, and organize it differently. The other thing that we want to look at is, the last thing is, how are we able to edit the header and the footer? So of course we have the header and the footer down here, and especially the footer. This is something that sometimes needs to be updated with the phone information, email, maybe the address changes, something like that. And the way you edit these is exactly the same as the text editors, images, things like that, except you just access it from a little different area. So from the dashboard, if you come down here and go to Divi, and you go to, if you go to Divi, and here it says Theme Builder, and when you do that, it's going to open up this menu right here, and you're going to see these green boxes where it says Global Header and Global Footer. And if you click on these pencil icons for either one of them, so if we on Global Footer click the pencil icon, that is going to open up the footer for us here, and it's going to have that same visual builder engaged and enabled. And you'll notice it's just the footer separately by itself, but the way it's laid out and the way you engage with it is exactly the same. You have your section, you have your row, and you have your modules, and you're able, these are just simple text editors. You open it up, it's just a text editor with one word in it. If you needed to update it, if you wanted to change the heading to something else, something a little bigger, if you wanted to, here is just an email. Real simple, it's just you can see a 3-column row. If you wanted to switch it to 4 and add something else over here, you could do that. And then down here, this is actually just a social media module. And this one's a little different, but again, it's the exact same. We already know how to utilize this. So here's the Facebook one. All it is it's a button. It's a link. You just paste your Facebook page into that link. You just select what the social media is, in this case Facebook, and that's it. If you want to add another one, maybe you have LinkedIn, something like that, you just click the plus, maybe LinkedIn, and then just like a button, you just paste it in there, hit OK. So you can see that it's even this, something like a social media icon that is very specific. All it really is just these are just buttons that have specific icons associated with them. If you know how to do those three main modules, you can edit these as well. And again, you have your page menu down here, so anytime you make an edit to the footer, you would just hit save. You can exit out of it right here, and then you can do an all changes saved here at the top. But in essence, that brings us to an end, the place where I usually stop for these trainings. I know it's a lot of information to take in, but that is a good kind of initial crash course for the new system, the WordPress platform, the Divi theme, and the Divi builder that you can use to manage your content. Again, I did want to open up the floor to anyone who has any questions. Did anyone have a specific question? You can either if you want to call it out, or if you want to type it into the chat, you can do that as well. But did anyone have any specific comments or questions at the moment? Okay, well, I'll take that. Silence is a good thing. And again, I know it's a lot of information to take in, so I don't expect you to remember every single little detail. But the cool thing is that this is recorded, and I will be posting this video online probably within 24, 48 hours. So you can always come back, and let me share my screen again real quick. You'll always be able to come back to this resource page. Where is it? Here it is. And all the other recordings will be saved here as well, up here at the very top. So you'll be able to rewatch this recording, or you can watch another recording. And then another thing at the very bottom, I do have a form here that if you have a specific question about the training or about the new platform, just fill out this form and give me your name and your email, what chapter you're part of, type out your question, and this one will come straight to me, and I'll be able to respond to you. I might send you some screenshots, maybe a quick video or something like that, and help you out with whatever question you have. But you should have, you should have a good foundation now with what we went over today. Yes. Oh, I think we just need to change the domain. Let me. I can get that going today. Okay, I'll get that going. And one just housekeeping thing I did on the trainings yesterday. You notice I was having some audio issues. I was getting that same static on the recordings from the ones yesterday. The image and everything looks fine, but the audio is kind of bad. So I might upload them without audio. But I think even the other recordings, I mean, the material is the same. So you might just let them know that hey, just watch one of the other videos. There will be, I figured it out for today, and then we just watch one of the other ones, and I think we go over the same material, so it should be fine. But I apologize for that. We're just having some technical difficulties. Yeah, I know. Well, I appreciate you guys understanding. Yeah. Hmm. Oh, good. I can look into making the change globally. There might be there should be a way to do that. Let me so yeah, you can always if you go in there. So let's see at the bottom. The department so you're so this one right here, Department of the Division. So yeah, let me see if that. I think that may be a global item actually. Let me check real quick. So this would be an area in the footer. And since that's a trademark, it may be. Oh yeah, so here it is. So you can see if we just click on it, it's just a simple. This is. It looks like okay. So this is a global footer layout. So let me worry about this one. All I should make that change, and it should be global. But if not, I mean, you can always still come in here, and all you'd have to do is you could just swap out division and hit the checkbox, hit save, and bingo. That should be good. So I'm going to exit out of it. I always hit the all changes save just for safekeeping. Now if we look at the site, sorry, over these trainings you've added a lot of content. And there it is, it's updated. So yeah, the little things like that. Feel free to reach out. We'll get that form more accessible for you guys. And but there should be those little things. Of course, in as we're switching over, there's gonna be some questions, and a little bit of time to get acclimated to the new system. But there should be some good opportunities to learn by making little edits and updates and things. And I think once you get comfortable with the new system, you're really going to like it. You're not going to have to contact us for a lot of things in terms of, just little updates, little ticky tacky little things that normally you just didn't have the ability to do. You do have now, and you have a lot of ability to kind of get creative and start creating a lot of new content as well. So thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, yeah. So Facebook feed, Facebook usually. Let me open up my Facebook real quick. Facebook usually, if I go to my feed, I would, let's see, let me look up that. Let me look, give me a second. If you, I know a website where it's added. I just have to open up here. And so if you don't mind indulging me just for like 30 seconds. And Facebook feeds, that one's a little more tricky because you're really, it's being provided by Facebook is giving you a little code or snippet and to embed. And but it is a great question. It's a little more tricky process, but if I can figure it out real quick, kind of just where to find it on Facebook, we can get that going. So it is just a simple, so link, oops, so there should be on like individual posts. So here was, if you go down to share, anytime you see the share function, you, you should be able to find share to page, share to newsfeed, and let's see. And if it's a business, because this is a personal one, so a business one, let me go to like real-time solutions. I think we have a page. So here's our real-time solutions page. I think I should be able to embed it. So yeah, on the page, if I go to share, no, that's going to share here. Let's see more. Videos. You know what? What I'll do today, Denise and Sylvia, let me record. Let me research it a little bit. Uh, this kind of afternoon, and I should have an answer later on for the next training. And what I can do is, and I plan to do this for some of the other things like the calendar, I can record just a quick, like 5-minute video, and then upload it to YouTube, and then I can add it to the resource page for people to go back and watch. Because I know I've done it before, and really all it is once you add it, so if we're here, and I think I might have logged out on accident. All you do is Facebook gives you, you just have to find the right place on your Facebook page where it's somewhere where it's like share. So it's share, but it's going to give you an option that says embed, and it gives you a little script, kind of like you do when you pull out the URL from the top here on the website. It's going to give you a script that all you have to do is copy paste it into what's called the code module. And a code module is just for its exact thing, things like embedding, and you can actually do it into a text module as well. So if you can make it a hyperlink in a text module, or I like to add just what's called a code module, and then you just paste whatever Facebook gives you right in here, and it just adds it right in there. And so exactly, and a lot of it's the same, like, or ever if you've ever added an iframe in, or sometimes you'll add your constant contact things. It's the same. It's just a little snippet of code, a little link that Facebook generates, and you just paste it in. Yeah, I did. I used to do MySpace a lot. That used to be the big one. I remember when Facebook first came out, and I was like, nah, I'll stick with MySpace. But that didn't last. So yeah, I know, I know. I remember when all the cool kids had MySpace. Now it shows that I'm getting older because my niece has no idea what it is. But that's funny. Of course. Thank you. It was a pleasure. All right. I think if you don't need me anymore, Sylvia, I'm gonna jump off and I'll start researching that Facebook issue, and I'll record a video on that, and also get the resources page, the NavajoChapters.com thing going as well. Oh, yeah, you bet. Oh, how do we access the recording training? Oh, sorry. Thank you for pointing that out. So that's going to be on that resource page. So you'll see here. Here are the. I just upload them to YouTube. Just because it's like 2 hours long, it's a really big file. It takes a while. I have to do some editing to it, and then I need to upload it, and it needs to be go through reviewed and things. So it takes a little while, but I will be posting it on YouTube, and then I'll be adding it to this resource page. So when you come to this resource page, you can see here are two of the other recordings. It'll show up right here in this area as well. It'll have the date, and it'll say morning for 12/22, and you'll be able to rewatch this, or you can watch any of the trainings. They're all pretty much the same. We go over the same content, and there's got a little table of contents, but it will be here on this page, and we'll be able to get this to you. Anything else? Thank you. Thank you, and have a good rest of your day. I'll see you later this afternoon, and we'll talk soon. All right, bye-bye.